anyway, this man farmer came down, and he stayed here, and he was a trance medium as well. And he said to me, he said, you've got a spirit guide called a white feather. And to prove it, he said, you'll find a white feather in the morning. And of course, I kind of laughed at that for a start. But anyway, I did in actual fact find the white feather. And it was the start of something. And I found that I was very close to this particular, who was an Indian. And I never realised that until such time as I went over to, what do you call that place? Another airport outside London. Stansted. Stansted Hall is the home of spiritualism. It's an amazing place. And I went over there for a course one time. And this white feather, actually, as a meditation, he literally knocked me off the chair. And when we came back to London, the place where we were booked in just wasn't available. So we were sent to another place and shoved into room number 8, and 8 had been following me. This is the number of stands for fatalism and all the rest of it. And I don't like big cities or anything. And the following day, it was 5:30 or something before I could fly back to Cork. So the next thing was I hear this voice say to me, go to the spiritual headquarters in Belgrave Square. So off I went. And I felt very foolish going in the door. And there was this elderly gentleman at the door. And I said, may I see a medium, please? And he said, you can at 4 o'clock this afternoon. Well, I said, that's no good because I have to be out at the airport to fly back to Cork at 5. So I was just going away, and he said, you can see a medium at 1 o'clock. And then it was 8 minutes to 1, which was very significant. And then he said to me, I paid a fee, and he gave me a receipt which was number 4, and 4s and 8s go together. And he said, go down the Conan Doyle corridor into room 8, please. Oh, it was extraordinary. And I went into the room, and then there was Mrs. Doris Collins, who was one of England's leading mediums. She came in and said, Mr. Parfrey? I said, yeah. Mr. Parfrey, I never see anybody at 1 o'clock, but I was told I was to see you, and she meant from the world of spirit. So I said, I haven't been with anybody like you before. And she went on a whole host of stuff on the ball, and then she suddenly stopped and said, you are psychic and you have the gift of healing. And she said, I have here a Dr. Karl Rosenthal. He tells me that he was a Jew, suffered greatly under the Nazis, and that for the past 14 years he's been operating through you. And that this power would continue to grow. So when I came out, I could have walked under a bus really because of what I'd heard. So I came back, and it's a funny thing, as soon as I was back, I was slaving away at the old bit of a job, and people would come in, you know. And remember one day a guy came in, he said, I want to buy a drawing board. So I sold him the drawing board anyway, and I had a small 500 weight van. I said, look, we'll deliver that for you tonight. Oh, so you know, we've got trouble at home, and what's wrong? Here then so-and-so was very ill, and all this kind of thing. And doctors don't seem to be able to do anything. And I might have said, well, did you ever hear of spirit healing? Well, I did actually, but sure, where would you find anybody in Cork that could do that? It was this kind of thing, you know? So for the first year after coming back, I think it's 17 people out of the blue like that, and it developed. And then this, when I was studying German, my German teacher, who didn't believe in an afterlife or anything, but she was very intrigued in this, and she said, why don't we go and try and find out if this doctor existed? So we wrote to the police in Berlin, no good. We wrote to jury, no good. Eventually we wrote to the Austrian medical council in Vienna, and back came a letter written in German, let's say, which I have upstairs, saying Dr. Karl Rosenthal died on such and such a date in 1953. He was an obstetrician and was a professor of obstetrics, and his last known address was Antongasse 4 near Vienna. So here was proof positive that the man, existed. And then I remember on one occasion, shortly after this, there was a lady came with a gynecological problem. I think she was going to have a hysterectomy or something. And next thing I hear stuff in German. Nein, es ist nicht das Darm, es ist nicht das, it's not the intestine. Do you know what I mean? So I remember that particular lady, all her womb shifted, and she rang me up, and I was scared and which because she said she was bleeding like a pig. And so sweet God. One of the things you learn though in healing is that anything that happens, the healing is doing the right thing. And the next day, she went to the gynecologist. He said, "What's wrong with you? Everything's perfect." So I worked with Dr. Karl Rosenthal for a long time after, well, that's the one inside